was another big week of subtle clues for the ongoing Jacob Fatu mystery, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's up with Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, and more. Starting things off with everything new and everything we just learned about the Jacob Fatu backstage situation. Since October, fans have been speculating about all the different routes for the story to go in for when it came to the topic of who attacked Jacob Fatu. Jacob's initial return during the 3 stages of hell did not give us much of anything to really work with for when it came to an actual solid reveal about who the attacker was. That return consisted of Jacob attacking both Drew and Cody, but it did not include any true moment of absolute clarity for when it came to the question of who really attacked him. We saw Jacob return, but when it came to the investigation and mystery itself, no progress was really made. So that brings us to January 16th, week 2 of Jacob's return. Did we get any answers on this episode of SmackDown about who was behind the attack? Well, there were some rumblings and rumors before SmackDown that a potential reveal or confession for the attack could be a part of the show, but that did not end up being true. No one confessed of the attack on Jacob, and there was no reveal of any kind. But what we did see was a lot of Jacob Fatu sprinkled in throughout the show, with some potential hints and clues there as well. One assumption fans are making right now is that Jacob Fatu's character actually does not have any solid idea of who actually attacked him. Fans are saying that because it's been several weeks since Jacob has been back, and he's yet to directly call out anyone for the attack and make that reveal. So the fact that Jacob's been back for many weeks and still hasn't addressed the situation, that's what has fans feeling like it must mean that Jacob himself does not have any answer and is still trying to figure it out along the way. Jacob may not have the full answer about who's responsible for the attack, but he's not quietly waiting for the attacker to be revealed. Jacob is taking another approach to the situation, and that includes himself physically coming after everyone that was near or close to the situation that night. It seems like the top suspect of Jacob's radar is Drew McIntyre. Drew is the first person that Jacob went after when he first returned a few weeks ago. Jacob probably does not have any solid proof that Drew McIntyre was actually behind the attack, but that's just the gut feeling that Jacob is going with. He's the most suspicious of Drew, so that's why Jacob is going after him the hardest. The continuation of January 16th, where Jacob interrupted a segment between Randy and Drew, and Jacob directly came after Drew and chased him out of the arena. Jacob did not fully explain his actions there on why he was doing that, but we can assume that Jacob is strongly after Drew because he has a feeling that Drew attacked him. Again, Jacob does not know that for sure that Drew attacked him. That's just what he's feeling and thinking of at the moment. And later in the night, we saw Jacob Fatu interrupt Kit Wilson and also take him out with an attack. That wasn't just a random attack on Kit. That probably could have been connected to Jacob's mini investigation because Kit was also connected to the attack. Kit was standing there in the corner of the scene when Jacob was attacked. So again, with Jacob not being sure who attacked him, maybe he's covering all grounds here. Maybe Jacob remembers seeing Kit Wilson there at the scene that night, and Jacob never forgot about Kit and never ruled him out as being an attacker. So that's why Jacob rolled up on Kit Wilson and took him out as well. Kit Wilson was there that night that Jacob was attacked, so Jacob had to make Kit pay as well, just in case it was Kit that played a role in the attack. And then after taking care of Kit Wilson, Jacob Fatu called out Cody Rhodes. Jacob never made any comments about Cody potentially being behind the attack. He was pretty much just responding to some things that Cody said about him earlier in the night. But Cody eventually comes out, and the two of them have a big brawl as well. And Cody and Jacob will meet again one-on-one at Saturday night's main event. So although Jacob does not have the answer for who actually attacked him, the January 16th edition of SmackDown saw him put his hands on a lot of top suspects, such as Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, and Kit Wilson. But some fans are wondering if there's even more subtle hints and quiet reveals that happen for the story with Jacob on this edition of SmackDown. Jacob spent the whole night going after people he believed could have been behind the attack and not hesitating at all. But there was one person Jacob Fatu completely ignored and ruled out as the attacker. That was Randy Orton. When Jacob Fatu interrupted Randy and Drew's conversation as he was making his way to the ring, we did see Drew McIntyre trying to yell and plead his case about how he did not do anything to Jacob. And as Drew is yelling and defending himself, Randy Orton's off in the corner looking a bit cautious and suspicious. But when Jacob returns to the ring and directly goes after Drew McIntyre, that's when the mood on Randy's face gets much lighter. And as Jacob is chasing Drew McIntyre out in the crowd, Randy Orton bursts into a huge smirk and a chuckle. Upon first viewing, maybe you chuck that up as Randy just having a fun time and laughing at Drew McIntyre, running away and being chased. But when you look at it over again and take this entire backstage attack into consideration, it is possible that Randy was chuckling not at Drew McIntyre, but more at Jacob Fatu for being wrong and not knowing that it was actually Randy who was behind the attack. And Randy was relieved and smirking that Jacob Fatu has not figured it out yet. That's definitely a possibility right there, and it could explain why Randy's expression went from being concerned when Jacob first was coming out, all the way to smiling and chuckling once Jacob was out of the ring. It looks like we're not getting the full reveal itself in the immediate future. They may continue to drag it out a bit, and maybe they have the full reveal take place sometime during the road to WrestleMania. There's a lot of talk right now of the WrestleMania 42 main event being either Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes, or Jacob Fatu even joining the mix there and turning things into a triple threat match. So this upcoming Saturday night's main event matchup between Cody and Jacob may also continue to plant some seeds for the both of them to maybe share the ring again with each other at WrestleMania 42. So most definitely keep an eye on that Cody and Jacob matchup, because it probably provides some more subtle hints about the backstage attack and could be setting up the stage for the big WrestleMania main event triple threat match if that is the direction they're going in after all. Jacob is laser focused on Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, but it still seems like there's a high possibility that the person who attacked him was not one of those two individuals. So the mystery is most definitely continuing. Everyone's hoping it does not drag out for that much longer. Hopefully the reveal isn't that far away. But until we get the big reveal, hopefully we do get to see more clues and hints that keep the conversation going strong until it's time to see who actually was behind the attack. Drew is continuing to swear that he had nothing to do with him. Cody has turned down the idea of being behind it, but nobody has even batted an eye towards Randy or even questioned him, so it is very intriguing. There's a small group of fans out there that are a little suspicious of Jimmy Uso being the backstage attacker. Sure, they had a lot of bad blood with each other in 2024, and a lot of history there does give motive to Jimmy. But what really debunks the fan theory is that it doesn't make much logical sense. It doesn't appear to have a proper payoff either. Jimmy's over on Raw as one half of the tag team champions and taking care of business over there. It doesn't really make sense for Jimmy to come to SmackDown, randomly attack Jacob, and then head back over to Raw. And it does not look like we're going to see Jimmy versus Jacob at WrestleMania, so what would even be the payoff if it was Jimmy? So that's what really eliminates Jimmy as a suspect. There are fans that keep bringing up Jimmy, but it does not make much sense at all for the story to head in that direction like that. Maybe it makes more sense if the attack is connected to Randy, Cody, or Drew, because they're all in the same main event bubble that Jacob's in right now. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.